Marcus Reed adjusted his formal diplomatic attire for the third time in as many minutes. The metallic blue collar, designed to match the flag colors of the United Earth Coalition, felt too tight around his neck. He wasn't supposed to be nervous. Translators were background players, invisible conduits between worlds. That's what he'd been trained for during his decade at the Xenolinguistic Institute. Just remember, Ambassador Keller said, straightening her own ceremonial sash, translate exactly what's said, no embellishments. The Astrians value precision above all. Marcus nodded. That's why I'm here, ma'am. And why you specifically? Admiral Thornton interjected, his weathered face tight with skepticism. The Astrians specifically requested you after reviewing translator profiles. That doesn't happen. Marcus had wondered the same thing. His specialty was nuance, the emotional subtext behind alien communication patterns. Most diplomatic corps wanted literal translation. The Astrians, with their reputation for being coldly logical, should have preferred someone more technical. Maybe they liked my thesis on empathetic resonance in non-human languages, Marcus offered weakly. The grand doors of the orbital station's ceremonial hall slid open before anyone could respond. A procession of tall, silver-skinned figures entered, their movements fluid like quicksilver. The Astrians had evolved under the light of 3 moons, their bodies adapting to stronger gravitational pulls with elongated limbs and dense musculature beneath their luminescent skin. At their center walked Princess Alara, heir to the Astrian throne. Unlike her entourage in utilitarian silver armor, she wore flowing garments of deep purple that caught the light like a nebula. Her eyes, solid cobalt without pupils, scanned the human delegation until they found Marcus. He felt a strange jolt when their gazes met, something familiar, impossible of course. We welcome the delegation of Earth, the Astrian Prime Sentinel announced in their clicking, harmonic language. Marcus stepped forward, translating flawlessly, but added a slight tonal shift that conveyed respect rather than mere acknowledgement, a subtlety most human translators wouldn't catch. Princess Alara's head tilted slightly. She spoke directly to Marcus. You understand the heart tone beneath our words. Marcus hesitated before translating for the human delegation, then responded in Astrian. I try to honor the full meaning, Your Highness. The negotiations began, a tense dance of territorial boundaries and resource rights. Marcus moved between languages, carefully preserving not just words but intentions. Each time he translated Princess Alara's statements, she watched him with increasing intensity. During a brief recess, she approached him alone. In our history, she said in her melodic language, those who can carry another's truth between worlds are considered sacred vessels. I'm just doing my job, Your Highness, Marcus replied, forgetting to translate for the others. No, she said, switching to perfect English, surprising him. You're doing much more. You're singing my soul's song back to me. When negotiations resumed, Marcus noticed the princess's guards watching him differently, with a mixture of suspicion and something resembling reverence. The talks progressed to cultural exchange possibilities, and when Admiral Thornton made a flippant remark about primitive spiritual practices, Marcus automatically softened it in translation. He thinks our connection to the cosmic consciousness is superstition, Princess Alara stated, again in perfect English. Admiral Thornton blanched. You speak our language. I understand it, she replied, but I cannot speak its heart truth as your translator does. She stood suddenly, her towering figure imposing despite her grace. Among my people, only one who can truly voice another's spirit can be their eternal bondmate. Marcus felt the atmosphere in the room shift. This human, she declared, pointing directly at Marcus, has given voice to my deepest thoughts with perfect resonance. By the laws of the cosmic concordance that has bound my people for 10 millennia, I name him Elashirvas, my chosen one. Silence fell across the hall. The Astrian delegation dropped to one knee while the humans exchanged confused glances. What does that mean exactly? Ambassador Keller asked carefully. Princess Alara's cobalt eyes never left Marcus's face. It means, she said, her voice carrying the weight of ancient tradition, that your translator is now my betrothed, bound by laws older than your civilization. Marcus's translator tablet clattered to the floor, the sound echoing in the stunned silence. That, Admiral Thornton muttered, was definitely not in the briefing. This is unprecedented. Director Hayes paced the secure conference room aboard the diplomatic vessel. A translator becoming betrothed to an alien princess, it reads like bad fiction. Marcus sat silently, still processing the events of the past 12 hours. Since Princess Alara's declaration, he'd been sequestered with Earth's diplomatic leadership, subjected to endless debriefings and strategy sessions. Can we simply decline? Ambassador Keller asked, pinching the bridge of her nose. Admiral Thornton's laugh was humorless. The Astrians control access to the richest quantum ore deposits in 3 sectors. We need this treaty. Offending their princess isn't an option. What about you, Reed? Hayes turned to Marcus. Any insights from your extensive cultural knowledge about how to get out of this? Marcus cleared his throat. From what I understand, the Lasher-Voss bond is considered sacred. Breaking it would be tantamount to declaring that we don't respect their most fundamental beliefs. So we're just going to marry you off for diplomatic relations? Ambassador Keller asked incredulously. Before Marcus could respond, a chime indicated an incoming transmission. Princess Alara's regal figure materialized in the holographic display, her silvery skin luminescent against her deep purple attire. I request the presence of my chosen, she stated without preamble, alone. After tense glances were exchanged, Marcus was escorted to the neutral meeting chamber between the human and Astrian vessels. Princess Alara waited, her tall figure silhouetted against the starscape visible through the panoramic viewport. Your leaders fear I've trapped you, she said as the doors closed behind him. They're concerned about the implications, Marcus admitted. Alara's mouth curved slightly. As are mine, the Prime Sentinel believes I've chosen you to provoke controversy. Have you? Marcus asked, surprising himself with his boldness. No, she stepped closer, and Marcus became acutely aware of their height difference. She stood nearly a foot taller than his 6 feet. I chose you because when you speak my words, they become more truly mine than when I speak them myself. I don't understand. The Lasher-Voss bond isn't merely a marriage as your people conceive it. She gestured for him to sit on one of the curved benches. It is a soul resonance. Among my people, finding someone who can perfectly articulate your deepest thoughts is rarer than discovering a newborn star. Marcus sat carefully, but we barely know each other. Knowledge grows, resonance is either present or absent. Her cobalt eyes studied him. You felt it too when you first translated my words, the connection. He couldn't deny it. There had been something, a strange sense of completion when he bridged their languages. My people believe the universe speaks through countless voices, she continued. Finding one who can harmonize your voice with the cosmic song is our highest aspiration. But I'm human, Marcus said. I don't share your beliefs or customs. Which makes you all the more remarkable. Alara's fingers, longer and more slender than human hands, reached toward him but stopped short of touching. I've studied hundreds of Earth translators. None could capture the heart tone of our language until you. A chime interrupted them. The Astrian delegation requested Princess Alara's return. Tomorrow the first courtship ritual begins, she said, rising. My royal sentinel will instruct you. Princess Alara, Marcus called as she reached the door. What if I refuse? She turned, her expression unreadable. You won't. The royal sentinel, Vorex, towered over Marcus, his silver armor reflecting the soft light of the instruction chamber. The revelation of truths requires absolute honesty, he explained, his tone making clear his disapproval of a human participating in sacred rituals. Princess Alara will ask 3 questions. Your answers must come from your soul's core. And if she doesn't like my answers, Marcus asked. The bond would dissolve, Vorex replied, a hint of hope in his voice. Marcus spent the day preparing with Admiral Thornton and Ambassador Keller, who stressed the importance of maintaining the princess's interest without committing Earth to problematic alliances. Remember, the Admiral warned, you're representing humanity now. When Marcus entered the ceremonial chamber that evening, he found it transformed. Crystalline structures bathed the room in prismatic light, and a small gathering of Astrian nobility stood in a perfect circle. Princess Alara wore ceremonial armor that accentuated her lithe strength, her silver skin adorned with luminescent markings. She approached and spoke in a voice that carried to all corners of the room. Marcus, Reed of Earth, I ask you first, what lies at the center of your being? Marcus had prepared diplomatic platitudes about peace and cooperation, but standing before her, different words emerged. Curiosity, he said, the desire to understand worlds beyond my own. A murmur rippled through the Astrian observers. Second, she continued, what do you fear above all else? Again, prepared answers fled his mind. Missing the truth of things, he said honestly, translating the words but losing their meaning. Her eyes widened slightly, and the markings on her skin pulsed brighter. And last, she said, her voice softer now, what do you seek in bonding? Marcus hesitated. This was the question Earth's diplomats had most carefully scripted. Yet looking into Alara's eyes, he found himself saying, connection, to know and be known beyond the limitations of any single language. The chamber fell silent. Then Alara did something unexpected. She smiled, her face transforming with an emotion that transcended species. "The Alashirvas endures," she proclaimed. Later, as Marcus was escorted back to his quarters, Vorax grudgingly explained, "Your answers resonated with ancient Astrian philosophy. The Council of Elders is surprised." "Is that good?" "For the princess, yes," Vorax's expression darkened. "For others with political ambitions, it is troubling. High Commander Zexel has long sought an alliance with the princess. Your presence disrupts years of political maneuvering." "I didn't ask for this," Marcus protested. "Few ask for destiny," Vorax replied. "Yet here you stand, human, at the center of Astrian succession politics. Princess Alara sees something in you that I cannot perceive. For her sake, I hope it truly exists." That night, as Marcus stared at the alien stars from his viewport, a private message arrived on his console. "In the royal gardens, beneath 3 moons, I am simply Alara. If you would know me beyond my title, meet me there when the middle moon crests the horizon. No translators, no diplomats, just truth between us." Marcus read the message twice, knowing that his response would ripple across 2 civilizations. After a long moment, he typed a single word. "Oh yes." The Astrian royal gardens defied Earth conventions of botany. Instead of growing from soil, crystalline plants emerged from pools of liquid metal, reaching upward in geometric patterns that changed with the light of the 3 moons. Marcus stood transfixed by a formation that resembled a fractal cathedral, its translucent branches chiming softly in the artificial breeze. "They respond to emotional energy," Alara's voice came from behind him. She wore simpler attire than he'd seen before, a fitted tunic and leggings of deep blue, though still with royal insignia. Without her ceremonial enhancements, she seemed more approachable, though no less alien in her otherworldly beauty. "They're incredible," Marcus said, watching as the crystal plant shifted toward them, its chimes harmonizing into something almost melodic. "You're the first human to see them," Alara said, stepping closer. "This garden is reserved for the royal family." "I'm honored, but isn't this breaking protocol?" Alara's laugh was surprisingly warm. "Thoroughly. High Commander Zexel has filed a formal complaint about our unaccompanied meeting. My father will formally reprimand me tomorrow, and I will formally ignore him." She led him deeper into the garden, where the crystalline growths became more complex. Here, the pools of liquid metal reflected the 3 moons overhead, creating an illusion of walking through a galaxy. "Why me?" Marcus finally asked the question that had been consuming him. "Out of all the humans you could have chosen." "Because you weren't afraid," she said simply. "I've been terrified since the moment you declared me your chosen." Alara shook her head. "Not of me, of my meaning," she gestured to the crystal formations. "Most translators approach alien languages like these structures, beautiful but rigid. They analyze syntax and vocabulary but miss the living essence beneath. You seek the soul behind the words." She stopped at a pavilion overlooking a vast array of pulsing crystal spires. "What did your leaders tell you about me?" "That you're the key to the alliance, that the Astrian Empire controls resources vital to Earth's expansion." "And what did they instruct you to do?" Marcus hesitated. "To maintain your interest without committing to anything that could compromise Earth's position." To his surprise, Alara smiled. "Honesty, good. My advisors gave me similar counsel about you." She sat on a bench that seemed to grow from the pavilion floor. "They believe I selected you as a political statement, rejecting traditional alliances for a provocative new direction." "Did you?" "I chose you because when you speak, I hear myself as I wish to be heard." Her eyes, solid cobalt in the moonlight, searched his face. "Does that frighten you?" "Less than it should," Marcus admitted, sitting beside her. They talked for hours, about Earth's oceans and Astria's floating cities, about translation theory and cosmic philosophy. When Marcus explained human concepts of romance versus political marriage, Alara's fascination was palpable. "The Relashirvas contains elements of both," she explained. "Political consequences are inevitable, but the bond itself is deeply personal." She hesitated. "There have been rare cases where the chosen refused the bond." "What happened to them?" "They lived with honor but separate. The bond recognizes free will even as it celebrates destiny." Something in her tone made Marcus realize she was offering him a way out, at personal cost to her standing. Before he could respond, a sharp tone emanated from Alara's wrist device. Her expression hardened instantly. "We must return, now." She was already moving, royal authority replacing the openness of moments before. The garden's peaceful atmosphere had shifted, the crystalline structures now pulsed with rapid, discordant tones. Guards appeared at the garden entrance, their postures tense. "Princess, a security breach has been detected," the lead guard reported. "High Commander Zexel demands an emergency council session." "Of course he does," Ilara muttered, then turned to Marcus. "Return to your quarters through the diplomatic corridor. Say nothing of our meeting." "What's happening?" Her eyes met his with unexpected intensity. "The first move in a game I've been anticipating. Be careful, Marcus. Not everyone celebrates our bond." The following morning, Marcus was summoned to an urgent meeting with Earth's diplomatic team. Admiral Thornton looked grim. "There's been an incident," he said without preamble. "Someone accessed restricted Astrian military files using credentials linked to your translator device." "That's impossible," Marcus protested. "My device has been in my quarters." "Which makes this look very bad," Ambassador Keller interjected. "The Astrian Security Council is suggesting you might be a spy." Director Hayes slid a data tablet across the table. "High Commander Zexel has formally requested your removal from the diplomatic mission and the dissolution of your bond with Princess Ilara." Marcus felt cold dread settling in his stomach. This is a setup. "Of course it is," Admiral Thornton agreed. "But proving that won't be easy. The evidence is convincing." "What does Princess Ilara say?" Marcus asked. "She's demanding a full investigation and has invoked royal privilege to prevent your immediate expulsion," Ambassador Keller explained. "But her position is precarious. There are factions in the Astrian court who strongly oppose a human in the royal lineage." "I need to speak with her," Marcus said. "Impossible right now," Director Hayes replied, "but she sent this." He handed Marcus a small crystalline device. When he touched it, Ilara's voice emerged, speaking in a dialect of Astrian so obscure that Marcus recognized it from only one historical text he'd studied. "The heart voice cannot be falsified," her message said. "Trust what resonates between us. The seventh ritual cannot wait." Marcus understood immediately. The seventh bonding ritual traditionally performed after months of courtship was the mind meld, a sacred joining of consciousness that, according to Astrian belief, revealed all deception. "She wants to accelerate the bonding process," he explained to the others. "The seventh ritual would prove my innocence." "Is it dangerous?" Admiral Thornton asked pragmatically. "Intensely intimate," Marcus answered honestly, "but not physically dangerous." A series of rapid communications followed. By evening, arrangements had been made for an unprecedented acceleration of the bonding rituals, a direct challenge to those seeking to undermine the alliance. When Marcus was escorted to the ceremonial chamber, he found only Princess Ilara waiting, her royal armor replaced by simple ceremonial robes. "You understand what this means?" she asked quietly. "That we're calling their bluff," he replied. "No," she said, stepping closer. "That whatever exists between us will be fully revealed. There will be no secrets, Marcus, no diplomatic facades, only truth." He swallowed hard. "I'm ready." She placed her hands on either side of his face, her touch cool against his skin. "The universe speaks through all beings," she whispered, "but only soul-paired voices achieve perfect harmony." As her forehead touched his, Marcus felt a rush of sensation unlike anything he'd experienced, like suddenly understanding a language he'd never studied. Ilara's thoughts flowed into his consciousness, her royal burdens, her loneliness among sycophants, her genuine wonder when she first heard him translate her words with perfect emotional resonance. In turn, she saw his lifetime of fascination with alien cultures, his frustration at being overlooked by the diplomatic corps, and his growing attraction to her that transcended professional duty. When they separated, both were breathing heavily. Tears, silvery and luminescent, traced paths down Ilara's cheeks. "You truly hear me," she whispered. Marcus reached up, brushing away a tear with his thumb. "And you hear me." She leaned down slowly, her lips meeting his in a kiss that sealed more than a diplomatic alliance. When they parted, the air between them seemed charged with possibility. "Tomorrow," she said, "we face our accusers together." "As what?" Marcus asked. Ilara's smile held both warmth and determination. "As what we have become, two voices speaking as one." The Grand Council chamber of the Astrian flagship hummed with tension. 12 elder Astrians sat in a perfect circle, their ceremonial armor catching light from the holographic displays showing evidence against Marcus. At the center stood High Commander Zexel, his imposing figure enhanced by battle decorations that covered his left side. "The evidence is irrefutable," Zexel's voice resonated through the chamber. "This human accessed military deployment plans using credentials tied to his translation devices. The security logs confirm it." Marcus stood beside Princess Ilara, both dressed in formal attire signifying their bonded status. After last night's mind meld, Marcus found he could sense her emotions without looking at her, a steady determination beneath her regal composure. The evidence is manufactured, Alara countered, as the seventh ritual has confirmed. Murmurs rippled through the council. The mind meld was considered infallible in Astrian tradition, a bond that rendered deception impossible between participants. With respect, Your Highness, Zexel's tone carried anything but respect, we have only your word that the ritual was properly conducted. No witnesses were present. Are you questioning my honor, Commander? Alara's voice dropped dangerously. Marcus stepped forward before the confrontation could escalate. I request the right of Vortalin, he stated in formal Astrian. The chamber fell silent, even Alara turned to him in surprise. Elder Curval, the eldest council member, leaned forward. You invoke the ancient challenge, a human. I have been accused of betrayal, Marcus replied, his pronunciation perfect after the mind meld had attuned him to the subtleties of Astrian speech. The right of Vortalin allows me to prove my loyalty through trial. He can't possibly understand what he's asking, Zexel scoffed. I understand perfectly, Marcus continued. I will undertake the blood trial to prove my innocence and my worthiness to stand beside Princess Alara. The elders exchanged glances. The right of Vortalin was rarely invoked, a dangerous physical and mental challenge designed to prove absolute loyalty to the Astrian throne. The human shows courage, Elder Curval finally said. The challenge is granted. This is unnecessary, Alara intervened, genuine concern breaking through her royal demeanor. As heir to the throne, I can dismiss these charges. No, Marcus said quietly, your people need to see that I'm worthy, not just as your chosen but as myself. Their eyes met, and through their bond he felt her conflict, pride in his decision warring with fear for his safety. Very well, she finally said. The trial will commence at the rising of the third moon. The Vortalin has 3 phases, Royal Sentinel Vorex explained as he helped Marcus prepare in a Spartan chamber beneath the council hall. The body trial tests physical limits, the mind trial tests resolve, the spirit trial tests loyalty. And if I fail, Marcus asked, examining the fitted Astrian combat suit he'd been provided, silver with royal purple accents marking him as the princess's chosen. Failure in the body or mind trial brings dishonor, failure in the spirit trial means death. Vorex's expression was unreadable. No human has ever attempted this. There's always a first, Marcus replied with more confidence than he felt. Vorex studied him. When the princess first declared you a Lashirvas, I thought it political maneuvering. Now I wonder if there is something in your species I have failed to comprehend. Before Marcus could respond, a chime announced it was time. He followed Vorex through ancient-looking stone corridors that contrasted with the Astrians' otherwise advanced technology. They emerged onto a circular platform suspended over what appeared to be a bottomless chasm. The 3 moons of Astria were visible through a transparent dome overhead, the third just rising over the horizon. Around the platform stood the council elders, High Commander Zexel and Princess Alara, now in formal regalia that marked her royal authority. Marcus Reed of Earth, Elder Curval intoned, you stand before the cosmic concordance to prove your worth through trial of blood and spirit. Do you proceed willingly? I do, Marcus answered. Then let the body trial commence. The platform beneath Marcus shifted, reconfiguring into an obstacle course of moving parts and hazardous elements. What followed was the most grueling physical challenge he'd ever faced, climbing moving walls under increased gravity, navigating narrow paths over seemingly bottomless drops, and finally fighting 3 combat drones programmed with Astrian martial techniques. His human physiology was both disadvantage and advantage, weaker than Astrian strength but more adaptable to changing conditions. When the final drone fell, Marcus stood bleeding from several cuts but unbowed. The body has endured, Elder Curval announced. Prepare for the mind trial. Servants brought a crystalline chalice containing luminescent blue liquid. This will open your consciousness to the collective memory of our people, Vorex explained quietly. Most cannot bear the weight of 10,000 years of history. Marcus took the chalice and with a brief glance at Alara drank deeply. The effect was immediate and overwhelming, his mind flooded with vivid images of Astrian history, wars, discoveries, rituals, births, and deaths. Millennia of experiences crashed through his consciousness like a tidal wave. He fell to his knees, hands pressed against his temples, fighting to maintain his sense of self against the cosmic ocean of memories. Through it all, he clung to one anchor, the resonance he felt with Alara during their mind meld. He focused on that connection, using it as a lighthouse in the storm of alien memories. Gradually, the chaos organized itself, not into linear understanding but into a feeling, a profound sense of the Astrian worldview that transcended language. When Marcus finally looked up, he saw surprise on the elders' faces. "The mind has comprehended," Elder Curval said, unable to hide her astonishment. "Proceed to the spirit trial." High Commander Zexel stepped forward, his expression dark. Now we shall truly test his loyalty. Two guards brought forward a complex device that they attached to Marcus's temples. Ilara stepped forward, her concern evident. "He will face the choice of worlds," Zexel explained with thinly veiled satisfaction. "His mind will experience a scenario where he must choose between Earth's interests and Astria's. There can be no deception, the device reads neural pathways directly." Marcus met Ilara's eyes. Through their bond, he felt her sending strength. The device activated, and Marcus found himself in a perfect simulation, standing in an Earth command center as Admiral Thornton explained that they had discovered a fatal weakness in Astrian defenses. They could secure Earth's dominance for generations by launching a surprise attack during the signing ceremony. In the simulation, Thornton appealed to his human loyalty, offering him everything he'd ever wanted professionally. The scenario felt utterly real, down to the weight of the decision on his shoulders. But something deeper than conscious thought guided his answer, the understanding he'd gained through the mind meld with Ilara and the Astrian collective memory. "We don't need dominance," simulation Marcus said. "We need partnership. Attack now and we lose something greater than any tactical advantage. We lose the chance to become more together than we could ever be apart." The simulation dissolved, and Marcus found himself back on the platform, breathing heavily. The monitoring device displayed his neural patterns for all to see, unwavering loyalty not to Earth or Astria specifically, but to the possibility they represented together. "The spirit has chosen," Elder Curval announced formally. "The Vortalin is complete." High Commander Zexel's face contorted with anger. "This proves nothing, a human cannot possibly." His words cut off as Princess Ilara stepped forward, her expression thunderous. "It proves everything, Commander, and now you will answer for the false accusations and evidence you manufactured against my chosen." "You have no proof of." "I need none," she interrupted. "As heir to the throne, I hereby relieve you of duty pending full investigation." Guards moved to flank Zexel, who looked around in desperate calculation. In a sudden movement, he drew a concealed weapon, a small energy projector aimed not at Ilara but at Marcus. "If I cannot prevent this abomination through law, then—" Marcus reacted instinctively, diving forward as the weapon discharged. Pain seared across his shoulder as he tackled Zexel to the ground. Guards swarmed forward, restraining the commander as Ilara rushed to Marcus's side. "Foolish, brave human," she whispered, cradling his head as medical staff approached. "Always speaking directly instead of translating." Marcus managed a smile through the pain. Some things don't need translation. Later in the medical bay, Ilara sat beside him as regenerative technology repaired the damage to his shoulder. Her formal regalia was gone, replaced by simple attire, her hair falling loose around her silver shoulders. "You could have died," she said quietly. "Worth the risk," he replied, reaching for her hand. "For this, for us." She interlaced her fingers with his, 5 fingers meeting 6 in a joining that symbolized everything about their unlikely bond. "The Council has formally acknowledged you as a Lashirvas," she said. "Even Elder Curval was impressed by your performance in the trials. And Zexel will face justice for attempted assassination of royal consort." A small smile touched her lips. "That's you, by the way." Marcus pulled her closer and she came willingly, her tall frame bending to meet him. Their kiss deepened, transcending the differences in their biology, in their worlds, in their histories. When they finally parted, stars were visible through the viewport, distant and beckoning. "Tomorrow," Marcus whispered, "we still have to figure out how to make this work. Earth, Astria, treaties, traditions." "Tomorrow," Ilara agreed, her fingers tracing the line of his jaw. "Tonight belongs to us alone." In the soft light of the medical bay, Translator and Princess found a language that required no words at all. The grand ceremonial hall aboard the Astrian flagship had been transformed. Crystalline structures similar to those in the royal gardens now lined the walls, their formations pulsing with harmonious tones that filled the space with ethereal music. Delegates from Earth and representatives from the Astrian Empire's 12 core worlds mingled in an atmosphere of cautious optimism. In a private antechamber, Marcus adjusted the formal attire that symbolized his unique position, neither fully Earth diplomat nor fully Astrian consort, but something unprecedented. The outfit combined the metallic blue of Earth's diplomatic corps with the royal purple and silver of Astrian nobility, tailored to bridge both worlds just as he did. Nervous, Admiral Thornton asked, entering the chamber with Ambassador Keller. Terrified, Marcus admitted. I'm about to become the first human to formally join an alien royal house while simultaneously serving as Earth's primary diplomatic liaison to that same power. Better you than me, Thornton said with surprising warmth. Though I have to admit, you've handled this impossible situation remarkably well. Ambassador Keller nodded. What began as a diplomatic crisis has transformed into the most promising interspecies alliance in Earth's history. The treaty terms are beyond what we hoped for. Marcus knew the truth behind those terms, long nights of negotiation with Alara, finding compromises that honored both their worlds. After the assassination attempt and Zexel's imprisonment, opposition to their bond had diminished but not disappeared entirely. Creating a stable alliance required delicate balancing of tradition and innovation. Is Earth ready for this? Marcus asked quietly. An Astrian princess visiting our world walking among humans. Are they ready for a human consort to their future empress? Keller countered. Change never comes easily, but it comes nonetheless. A soft chime indicated it was time. Marcus took a deep breath and followed his former superiors, now his diplomatic counterparts, into the grand hall. The assembled crowd parted as he entered, creating a path to the central dais where Princess Alara waited. She wore full ceremonial regalia, her silver skin adorned with intricate patterns of luminescent markings, her tall frame enhanced by a mantle that seemed crafted from captured starlight. Yet despite the intimidating grandeur, her eyes found his immediately, and through their bond he felt her underlying emotion, not regal confidence but personal joy. The formal ceremony combined elements of both cultures. Elder Curval, who had overseen the Vortalin, now presided over the proceedings. The ancient Astrian, her silver skin etched with the patterns of extreme age, spoke first in her native tongue, then in carefully practiced English. Today marks not merely an alliance between worlds, but a recognition that the universe speaks through many voices, yet tells one story, she intoned. The Lashervas bond between Princess Alara and Marcus Reed embodies this truth in living form. The treaty signing came first, a comprehensive agreement establishing trade routes, cultural exchanges, technological sharing, and mutual defense parameters. As lead negotiators, both Marcus and Alara added their signatures to the document, their hands briefly touching as they completed this formal act. Then came the bonding ceremony itself. Unlike human weddings focused on the couple's promises to each other, the Astrian ritual emphasized their connection to the greater cosmos. Crystal vessels containing elements from both worlds, earth water and Astrian liquid metal, were combined in a ceremonial basin. As these elements join, never again to be separated, Elder Curval proclaimed, so too are these souls joined across the stars. Marcus and Alara each placed a hand in the swirling mixture. Where their fingers touched beneath the surface, the liquid began to glow, spreading outward in pulsing waves of light that eventually illuminated the entire hall. The universe acknowledges this union, Elder Curval announced as gasps rose from the assembled guests. I didn't expect that, Marcus whispered to Alara. Her smile was radiant, nor did I. It happens only in legends, the cosmic concordance itself manifesting approval. After the formal proceedings concluded, the gathering transitioned to celebration. Earth foods and Astrian delicacies were served side by side, while musicians from both worlds attempted to find harmonies between their different traditions. During a quiet moment, Marcus and Alara slipped away to a viewport overlooking the stars. Beyond the gathered fleet, Earth hung like a blue jewel against the blackness of space. It's beautiful, Alara said softly. I look forward to walking its surface with you. And I look forward to seeing the crystal cities of Astria, Marcus replied, taking her hand. Her skin was cool against his, her 6 fingers interlacing perfectly with his 5. Though I'm still not sure how we'll manage this, living between 2 worlds serving 2 peoples. By remembering that beneath the differences there is one truth, she said. Just as you found the heart meaning beneath my words, we must find the shared heart meaning of our peoples. A discreet chime from Alara's communication device interrupted them. The Emperor requests our presence, she said, her expression growing serious. My father rarely leaves Astria. His arrival for the final blessing is significant. Is he still opposed to our bond? Marcus asked. He is adapting to necessity, she replied diplomatically. They made their way to the Emperor's private chamber, where the ruler of 12 worlds waited. Emperor Tevron was imposing even by Astrian standards, tall and broad-shouldered, with ceremonial markings that covered most of his visible skin. his eyes deeper cobalt than Alara's, fixed on Marcus with penetrating intensity. So, the Emperor's voice rumbled like distant thunder. You are the human who has bound himself to my daughter and heir. Marcus bowed with perfect Astrian form. I am honored by the bond, your imperial majesty. Honor, the Emperor repeated thoughtfully, an interesting concept across species. He gestured for them to sit. My daughter tells me you understand our ways with unusual depth for one not born to them. I try, your majesty, though I have much still to learn. The Emperor studied him silently for a long moment. When Alara first declared you a Lashirvas, I believed it political calculation. My daughter has always been skilled in matters of statecraft. His voice carried the weight of millennia of royal tradition. I see now it was something else entirely. It was both, father, Alara replied, her tone respectful but unwavering. The heart can serve the empire as surely as the mind. The Emperor's expression softened marginally. The council reports that he passed the Vortalin with unusual resilience for any being, let alone a human. I had something worth fighting for, Marcus said, meeting the Emperor's gaze directly. Two things, actually, the bond with your daughter and the future our worlds can build together. Emperor Tevron's luminescent markings pulsed once, an involuntary reaction that, Marcus now understood, indicated surprise. You speak our language as if born to it, the Emperor noted. The mind meld has changed you. It has shown me possibilities I never imagined, Marcus agreed. The Emperor rose to his full, imposing height. Then perhaps there is wisdom in this union that even I could not foresee. He extended his hand, a gesture adopted from human custom. My daughter has chosen, the cosmic concordance has blessed, I shall not stand against what the universe has joined. As Marcus stood to accept the gesture, the Emperor added quietly, but know this, human, her duty to our people remains. As consort, yours will be to help her bear that burden, not add to it. I understand completely, your majesty. Later, as the celebration continued around them, Marcus and Alara stood on a private balcony overlooking both the gathered fleet and the distant blue sphere of Earth. So what happens now? Marcus asked. Do I move to the Imperial Palace? Do you join Earth's diplomatic corps? Do we get a nice little house halfway between our worlds? Alara laughed, the sound like crystal chimes. All of those, perhaps. The treaty establishes new diplomatic protocols, including the first permanent Astrian embassy on Earth. With you as ambassador. With us as joint ambassadors, she corrected. The first of their kind embodiments of the union between our worlds. Marcus looked out at the stars between their worlds. There will be challenges, cultural misunderstandings, political opposition on both sides. Undoubtedly, Alara agreed, her hand finding his. But we have something no diplomat has ever had before. What's that? She touched her forehead to his in the Astrian gesture of deepest intimacy. The ability to truly hear each other, not just words but meaning. As they stood there silhouetted against the vastness of space, a subtle resonance built between them, the echo of their bond, now recognized by both their worlds. I never imagined when I took that translator position that I'd end up here, Marcus said softly. The universe speaks in many voices, Alara replied, quoting the ancient Astrian wisdom, but those who truly listen can hear the harmony beneath. In the great hall beyond them, humans and Astrians continued their careful, sometimes awkward attempts at celebration across the cultural divide. There would be misunderstandings, setbacks, and challenges in the years to come. But as Marcus and Alara sealed their union with a kiss that bridged two worlds, they knew they had created something unprecedented. A living translation between species, a resonance of understanding that transcended mere words. Ambassador and princess, human and Astrian, husband and wife, they had become something greater than the sum of their parts. And in that joining, they had opened a door that neither of their civilizations could ever close again. The voice between worlds had found its harmony at last. The end.